Been a while, hasn't it? So I know that I have not uploaded a video in a very long time, and I'm quite sorry for that. But as it turns out, I'm still alive. More importantly, I've still been doing a lot of Tetris stuff. What have I done over this past year? Well, won a bunch of tournaments.
Fractal is your 2024 Classic Tetris Monthly Mega Masters event champion.
Then I lost some.
Worrisome for Fractal. That left side. Oh no!
Then I lost some more.
Trista has upset your defending world champion.
Then I won again.
Your first ever Jonas Cup champion is Fractal.
Then I lost some more.
Very dangerous. This could be it for Fractal, and oh no.
You get the picture. It's been a lot of ups and downs. To be honest, the most fulfilling thing that I did this year wasn't even playing in a Tetris tournament. No, instead, I actually ran one. On January 15th, 2024, we ran Boston Tea Parity. Yes, that is a Tetris joke. And in my completely fair, completely unbiased opinion, it ended up being one of the most unique Tetris tournaments out there. It was so much fun that we knew that we had to do it again, so we're doing it again. This time, we're calling it Boston 2 Parity, and it'll run on the January 11th and 12th, 2025. It's going to be streamed on all platforms from the official Classic Tetris channel, and you're not going to want to miss it. In this video, I'm going to tell you about all that we have planned for the most unique tournament in the Tetris scene. Before we do that, I want to take some time to explain the original Boston Tea Parity, how it came to be, and how we made it different from anything else that came before it. So without further ado, let's begin. So as it turns out, the start of this event was completely an accident. Two of my friends, Rhubarb and Meme, had started planning to visit Boston in January, where I would be, and we were gonna, of course, hang out. We were talking a lot about all the things that we wanted to do, and Meme suggested hosting a Tetris tournament as a joke. It was funny. Then suddenly it became very, very real. First things first, we needed a venue. This part was actually pretty easy. I happened to go to school at the wonderful Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and I was able to book a pretty large classroom with them, and that was that. But equally important to a location is having people to actually play the game. Initially, I was worried that we'd have trouble finding even 8 people who would want to participate. But word got out, and soon enough, people were actually flying in to participate. We even had people from both Canada and Great Britain come, which is kind of insane. But even with all this momentum, it became evident that I was in over my head. I had no experience with running live events, and that's easily a recipe for disaster. Fortunately, I was blessed with the help of some truly incredible people. Of particular note is Carbonic, who handled the coordination of all of the audiovisual equipment, and Zempro, a good friend of mine and a veteran of live events who just knew how to fix things. With their help, we managed to make it to the tournament in one piece. We held a 12-person single elimination bracket over the span of just one day. And it's at this point where I can start talking about what makes this tournament so unique. To begin, there was the match format. By now, we're all accustomed to seeing games end with a double kill screen, but there are other ways to forcibly end a game. And I just couldn't pick one. So we ended up using all of them. We had double kill screen like usual, but also made piece invisible, had this gradually rising floor, you get the idea. We also let players choose the game's levels. You'll see games starting at both levels 18 and 19, and you'll see the line caps appearing in many places. But how did they make these decisions? Simple. Before each game, one person chooses the levels, while the other person chooses the line cap. And this even added a very slight element of strategy, since players had to make their decisions based off what they thought their opponent was going to pick. So I'm sure all of this sounds kind of insane, and I agree. This is something that's never been done in any Tetris event ever, online or in person. And we haven't even gotten to the orchestra yet. I am a member of the MIT Video Game Orchestra. We make and perform arrangements of music for my favorite video games, and we have this big concert every semester. But we also do one-off gigs throughout the year, and I thought that maybe I could use them for this event. They're actually the reason I could even reserve the classroom in the first place, since you have to do these things through school clubs. So I asked a few of my friends if they were interested, and they were, so we got to work. There was actually one piece in particular that I really wanted us to play. The song Connected from the Tetris Effect soundtrack. But given the particular instruments that we had on hand at the time, there wasn't an existing arrangement that we could draw from. So I made it. My very first arrangement for an orchestra, and I think it kind of turned out okay. And with that, I'm pretty sure we became the first ever Tetris tournament to feature a live orchestra. The actual tournament itself was great. It featured one of my favorite commentary moments of all time.
It's very easy to forget that Sodium is a top player. Because
And the banter in the finals between Orlando and C-Dubs was a classic in the making.
I haven't started implementing my terrible fake catchphrases for any of these Tetrises.
Regardless.
But from downtown Wallband with the Tetris.
And Blammo, Tetris for Wallband.
Bazinga, Tetris for Wallband.
Another one. And Shazam, double Tetris for Wallband.
Egads, Tetris for Sodium.
And holy smokes, Tetris for Wallband.
Kaboom Foamtastic, Tetris for Sodium. Strike 3, you're out, Tetris for Wallband. You know what? I find it fitting that it is the Boston Tea parody, so Dan V, you're British. There's no way you were gonna win this event today. USA, USA. Not to get political or anything, but I want an independent New England state.
Yeah, anyway, it looks like Wallband's at 57,000 here.
New best. Oh man, and oh say can you see that Tetris from Sodium. But oh Canada, Tetris for Wallband. A Macarena, Tetris for Wallband. And that's the bee's knees, Tetris for Sodium.
Get a bucket and a mop. That's a Tetris for Wallband.
Where did you come from, Cotton Eye Peace?
And
Get it.
Sodium.
Sodium is gonna
Your
take.
Boston Tea parody champion.
The finals match featured Sodium, Overdose, and Wallband, two players perhaps less familiar with our general audience. And for a tournament like Boston Tea Parody, I wouldn't have it any other way. The event was not without its problems. There were delays, audio issues, the whole gambit, but it clearly didn't stop everyone from having a great time, including me. And it was pretty obvious that we had to do this again. That brings us to now. Here's what you should expect from 2 Boston 2 Parody. With 2 Boston 2 Parody, we're bringing back lots of the same stuff from last year. For starters, the core team is once again myself, Carbonic, and Zempro, and Meme's also been working on some art for us. Video Game Orchestra is also returning, and we'll be playing a brand new Tetris piece that is, once again, arranged by me. We're going to be in the same building, a lot of the same players are coming back, and ultimately, we're still playing Tetris. As for everything else... Okay, true story. We started planning this whole thing. My one goal was to change nothing. We do the same things, learn from our mistakes, and do them way better. I remember the delays from last year, and I really did not want us to be overwhelmed. And then we opened signups. Got 40 people within just 24 hours. And now, instead of doing the same things as before, we are doing twice as many things as before. I guess it's not called 2 Boston 2 Parody for nothing, am I right? So what does this mean? Starts, the tournament is now over 2 days instead of one, spanning both January 11th and 12th. We booked 2 classrooms this time, each the same size as the one from last year. The bracket is twice as big now, being 24-person single elimination. Anything else? Right. Instead of just one tournament, we're now doing a tournament and a side event that will probably have more people signed up than the tournament itself. Yeah. So we're clearly taking on a lot, but we do have a few more resources open to us, not to mention the experience from last year. So I'm confident that even in the worst case, we can at least make it interesting. With that out of the way, let's take a look at how the main bracket's going to work. This time, we're not going to be doing linecap counterpicks like last year, but we are going to be doing counterpicks using a different ROM hack that I've made, the speedhack. I created this whole video a couple years ago explaining how this works, but in shorts, it lets you speed up or slow down the game, including the rates at which the controller is pulled. So with the speedhack, you can make it possible to roll faster than 30 Hz, or you can choose to make it impossible. The possibilities are vast. So how will my tournaments use this hack? Before every match, one player will pick the speed, which ranges from 50% all the way to 600%. Afterwards, the other player will pick the starting level. There's going to be some restrictions to keep the games reasonable, but you can expect anything from level 5 to level 29 to be fair game. And of course, you cannot pick the same thing twice because it's more fun that way. I'm calling this format Speedhack Counterpicks, and I am praying that it will make more sense when the matches actually start. For now, I hope this hastily written explanation will suffice. So that just leaves the mystery side event. What are we going to be doing here? I really wanted this to stand out from any other tournament that had done before, so I was really struggling to come up with a good idea for this. But then I remembered a frankly bizarre Smash Bros. Tournament from 2021 called Bad Things Happening to Good People. It featured perhaps the most insane rule set I have ever seen, where players bribed each other and the outcome of a match could be decided by a single game of rock, paper, scissors. It was messy. It was chaos. It was perfect. And with this, I decided to make our side events the first ever iteration of Anarchy Tetris. The rules for Anarchy Tetris are simple. Rule number 1. In a match, both sides must agree on a single winner. Rule number 2. There is no rule number 2. That's it. That's the only rule. I personally think that our rule set is quite clear, but I can understand a little bit of confusion, so let's try and clarify what this means. For your match, you can choose to play a match of classic Tetris like normal, but if you wanted, you could also use Tetrio or J-Estris, or you could play with pentominoes instead, or you could just do rock, paper, scissors. Any of these are valid so long as both sides agree. However, while we don't have any other rules, we do want to keep things within a certain degree of insanity, so we do have some very strong suggestions. Suggestion 1. Since this is a Tetris tournament, it would be nice if the form of competition involved Tetris in some way. However, we may make an exception if the result is particularly funny. Suggestion 2. Matches should probably take 20 minutes or less just to keep things running. However, we may make an exception if the result is particularly funny. Suggestion 3. Please, please, please follow the standard code of conduct. Do not be rude, do not be violent, do not be unpleasant. Use your common sense. However, if the result is particularly, hopefully you get the points. The bracket will be literally as big as the number of people will sign up, and then we'll figure out how to seed them later. I have no idea if this is going to work. Pretty sure everyone I've talked to thinks this is a terrible idea, but in some ways that may represent the event as a whole. We're trying things out that nobody else has done, that nobody has even thought of doing it. And if it's a little messy in the process, I think that's okay, and I hope you agree too. So to recap, 2 Boston, 2 Parity will be happening on January 11th through 12th, 2025. It will be a 24-person single elimination bracket. The matches will use speedhack counterpicks, and we'll have a side event of Anarchy Tetris, where literally anything both players agree to goes. If you would like to watch it, Classic Tetris will be streaming it live on Twitch, YouTube, you name it. If you'd like to come in person, check out the interest forum in the description. It'll have a few more details. And if you want to try and qualify yourself, there's a link in the description as well. Make sure you read the rules. They're a little strange. And that's all I have for you right now. There's still so much work to do, but I'm really excited. I hope that I convinced you to be as well. I'll see you all at 2 Boston, 2 Parity.